Between the months of July and September in 1942, German police deported and killed 300,000 Jews from the Warsaw Ghetto. 265,000 were deported to the Treblinka extermination camp, 11,580 to other concentration camps, and 10,000 were murdered en route. In response to the deportations, the Jews created two organizations to fight against the Germans. These groups were the Jewish Combat Organization and the Jewish Military Union. The two groups established contact with the Polish military underground movement, or the Home Army, to obtain weapons to combat against the deportations. As the months continued, Heinrich Himmler ordered the resignation of mass deportations from Warsaw in accordance to Hitler's plan to liquidate all the ghettos. During a deportation, a group of Jewish fighters attacked a group of Germans escorting Jews at the transfer point. This attack helped the escorted Jews escape. In response to the attacks, the Germans stopped the deportations. One witness wrote that thanks to the resistance during today's revolt, there wasn't a single instance of the murderers seeking people out in the cellars. They were simply afraid to go down. The halt of the deportations allowed Warsaw Ghetto Jews to come together to build bunkers and shelters in preparation for an uprising in case the Germans restarted deportations. One Jewish fighter wrote that every doorstep in the ghetto has become a stronghold and shall remain a fortress until the end. It is a freedom as well as yours, for our human dignity and our national honor as well as yours.
Eventually, the Germans started to resume the deportations. On the night of the final deportation of Warsaw, Heinrich Himmler changed his chief of defense corps and police from Obergruppenführer Ferdinand von Sammern-Frankenegg to Jürgen Stroop. He ordered the ghetto to be burned building by building. On April 19, 1943, 2,000 heavily armed German soldiers went up against 750 Jewish fighters, armed with a handful of pistols, 17 rifles, and some Molotov cocktails. The Jews held out for 27 days. On May 8th, leader Mordecai Anilowitz and many of his colleagues were killed at their headquarters on 18 Mila Street. After Jürgen Stroop announced the end of the fighting, the Great Synagogue on Tomac Street was blown up. Even though he was killed, Mordecai Anilowitz had achieved his goal. He said, "What we have experienced cannot be described in words. We are aware of one thing only. What has happened has exceeded our dreams. The Germans ran twice from the ghetto. Jewish self-defense in the Warsaw Ghetto has become a fact. Jewish armed resistance and retaliation have become a reality. I have witnesses to the magnificent, heroic struggle of the Jewish fighters." He also said, "My life's dream has been realized. I have lived to see Jewish defense in the ghetto rally its greatness and glory." Fighters were also proud. One said, "Keep alive the remnants who have survived, so that there will be some reserve for the future and witnesses to this crime."
The revolt ended on May 16, 1943, with 7,000 Jews shot dead, 6,000 burned to death or suffocated with smoke, 56,000 captured, and the remainder deported to camps. The German forces suffered 110 casualties, with 17 deaths. The Nazis not only razed the area, they created the Warsaw concentration camp complex. The Jews fought with pride and courage. One revolter named Ishak Katz-Nelson stated, "Though it be to die, we will fight. We will fight not for ourselves, but for future generations. Although we will not survive to see it, our murderers will pay for their crimes after we are gone, and our deeds will live forever." Another Polish survivor that showed pride in the Jewish uprising was Leon Susan. Leon created a small memorial tablet located at the monument to the ghetto heroes that states, "For those who fell in an unprecedented heroic struggle for the dignity and freedom of the Jewish nation, for a free Poland, for the liberation of man." This is located where the Warsaw Ghetto was. More recently, to recognize the accomplishments of the Polish Jews, the Museum of the History of Polish Jews was opened on April 19, 2013. It is located where the Warsaw Ghetto used to be.